All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about a story out of Assam that is just, well, it's huge. It started as what looked like a massive land deal for a cement factory, but it has completely blown up into a major constitutional battle, a fight over human rights. It's this incredibly complex web of land, law, and what happens when that big idea of economic development runs smack into ancestral rights.
And the whole thing went viral because of this moment right here. These are the actual words of a high court judge caught on video just expressing total disbelief during a hearing. 3,000 bighas. Is this some kind of joke? I mean, wow. That one moment of shock from the bench basically took a local dispute and shot it onto the national stage. It really set the scene for an incredible legal showdown.
So that's really the big question we're going to unpack today, isn't it? What on earth is going on with this deal that would make a judge react so strongly, so publicly? The answer? Well, it takes us deep into the hills of Assam and right into the heart of the Indian Constitution.
Okay, so to understand that judge's reaction, we have to rewind and look at the deal itself. You know, what was actually being handed over, and who are the people at the center of this storm. The number that started it all is 3,000 bighas. Now, look, that might not mean much to a lot of us, so let's put it into perspective. We're talking about roughly 1,850 acres. That is more than 4 square kilometers of land. Just try to picture a single private company getting a piece of land that big. That's the staggering scale we're dealing with, and that's exactly what made the court sit up and take notice.
So, who's in this fight? Well, on one side, you've got Mahabal Cement, a company based in Kolkata with plans for a huge industrial plant. On the complete other side, you have the local residents, with Sanesh Hojai leading the charge, who are saying, hey, wait a minute, this is our ancestral land. And stuck right in the middle is the North Kachar Hills Autonomous Council, the NCHAC, which is the local governing body that actually gave the green light for this whole thing.
And if you look at the timeline, you can see just how fast this all happened. It kicked off in February 2024 with this massive investment agreement. By October, November, bam, the NCHAC allots the full 3,000 bighas. But just 1 month later, the local residents hit back with a legal challenge. And then, fast forward 8 months to that court hearing, and suddenly, the entire country is watching.
Now here's where it gets really interesting, because this is not just some simple dispute over property lines. At its very core, this is a constitutional showdown. This case has become a major test for one of the most important protective clauses in the entire Indian Constitution.
And this is the key to everything. The district where this is all happening, Dima Hasao, is a 6th schedule area. Think of this part of the Constitution like a protective shield. It was specifically created to defend the land, the culture, and the self-governance of tribal communities. And the whole case really hangs on one question. Was that shield just completely ignored?
So, in the courtroom, this conflict boils down to 3 totally competing stories. Mahabal Cement's argument is, the land is barren and we got it legally through a tender process. End of story. The local petitioners are saying the complete opposite. No way! This is our ancestral land, we farm here, and the transfer was totally illegal. And then you have the High Court, kind of cutting through all that noise to ask a much deeper question. In a protected tribal area, is a deal this huge really for the public interest, or is it for private interest? This whole legal war, when you strip it all away, really comes down to a fundamental disagreement over what this land actually is. Is it just an empty piece of ground waiting to be used, or is it something more? This is where the story gets really powerful.
The company's argument literally begins with this premise. Their lawyer stood up in court and described the 3,000 bighas as only barren land. A simple description, sure, but one that is being fought tooth and nail.
And here it is. This is the heart of the whole thing. For Mahabal Cement, it's a mining lease, an economic asset you can exploit. For the people who live there, it's ancestral land, the very source of their livelihood, their culture, their identity, through traditional Jum cultivation. But then the High Court drops a third reality on the table, calling the area an environmental hotspot, a home for wildlife. So you have one piece of land seen in 3 radically different ways.
And behind all these conflicting views, you've got some really serious allegations about the human cost. The petitioners are claiming they were illegally evicted. They're saying some villagers were pressured, even forced, to sign no objection certificates. And the compensation offered? Reports say as low as 2 lakh rupees. Just think about that. A tiny sum for losing your ancestral home and your entire way of life. It just points to this huge power imbalance at the center of the deal.
So you might be thinking, why does this one case in Assam matter so much to the rest of the country? Well, it's because the court's final decision here could set a massive precedent that echoes for years to come.
See, the really crucial thing to understand is that this Mahabal cement deal isn't happening in a bubble. All the signs suggest it's just the leading edge of a much bigger push for industrialization in the region, a potential tidal wave that could completely reshape these protected lands.
Yeah, those 3,000 Bighas for Mahabal cement, they might just be the tip of the iceberg. There are reports that other big cement companies are also lining up, looking for land, with potential allotments that could add up to 9,000 times more Bighas. That makes this court case the critical test. Its outcome could basically write the rulebook for how all of these future deals are going to be handled.
So the stakes here are just incredibly high, and they lead to two very, very different futures. If the court rules for the petitioners, it could put some serious muscle back into the sixth schedule, forcing more protection for tribal lands all across India. But if it rules for the company, it could seriously weaken those same constitutional protections, potentially opening the floodgates for similar massive projects in other protected areas.
And really, that leaves us with this final, powerful question. This whole case isn't just about cement. It's not just about one plot of land. It's about a fundamental tension that exists at the heart of modern India. When that powerful push for economic progress crashes into the constitutional rights of its people and the desperate need to protect our environment, how do we choose which path to take? You can bet the answer from the Guwahati High Court is one that everyone will be watching.